welcome back to Courtship and Beyond with me, Sola. As always, it's a pleasure to be recording and sharing with you today, and thank you for checking into the channel. I really appreciate it. So I'm sure everyone would agree with me when I say that nobody is perfect. We all have some areas that we're probably not proud of. We all have some weaknesses and some character flaws that if another person found out, we'd be like, whoa, this is embarrassing. But basically, we're not perfect. However, when it comes to choosing the person we're going to marry, there are some character flaws that we should be looking out for, and there are some things that we should be running away from outright. There's some red flags that you don't even entertain in a person. But what I've come to realize is there's also some amber flags, which are not quite enough to say, actually, this is it, let's call it off. But they are there to kind of alert you of areas that need to be dealt with in the person that you're seeing. So today I just want to highlight 5 areas or 5 amber flags that if you've recognized them, it's worth, sitting down with the person that you're seeing and encouraging them or requiring them to, do something about it and to deal with it. And before I go into those 5 things, I think it's worth mentioning that in as much as, we can pick out flaws and issues in other people, we do need to first check ourselves and start with ourselves. So as I'm going through the list, you might be thinking, yeah, he's like that or she's like that. But do check yourself and recognize which ones are you and take those things to God and let God deal with you first. Because, we want to be well-rounded people. We want to be whole. We don't want to carry these weaknesses or flaws around with us. We want to be good spouses, and we also want to have the right person. But in order to have the right person, let's endeavor to become the right person. Okay, so the first amber flag that we need to be mindful of is when a person does not have accountability, when a person's not submitted to anyone. I found in my own life, on a personal level and within my relationship, accountability to be invaluable. If I'm doing something wrong, I know there are people that can check me. There are people that I'm looking to correct me. There are people that, can chastise me. There are people that I'm submitted to. And that's invaluable. If I'm doing anything silly, like my husband can check me, my mentor, Pastor Sam, can check me. There are people around me that can, tell me about myself. But if a person does not have that kind of accountability in their lives, you need to question why, what's going on. Does this person have issues with authority? Does this person, want to rule things themselves? It's an amber flag, but it's something that can be easily rectified. If they're willing to submit themselves to someone, then great. But if they're not, then it's quite worrying. So that's a conversation that I would have. Ensure that the person you're dating or you yourself, that you have accountability. It's necessary. And the day that, the person runs wild, who's going to correct them? Who's going to keep them in check? Everything may seem all good while everything's happy and, things are going well and you're in agreement. But in the day that there's an issue or a problem, who can speak to them? Are they a God unto themselves, or do they have people that they're submitted to? That's a very important thing. So have those conversations and, look for the right accountability. In most cases, there are people around us that we can submit to, but we just haven't, acknowledged that they're there and they're valuable enough to have that conversation. So do endeavor to find someone to submit to and to encourage the person that you're seeing to have someone that they can be accountable to. Does the person struggle to admit when they are wrong? Are they able to apologize? And this is a big one as well, because if you're with someone that doesn't like to admit that they're wrong, that's a form of pride. And this is not for us to go to the person like, you're bare prideful, what's wrong with you? But it's to just highlight, actually, maybe we do need to address this. Maybe this is something to look into, because I need to know that if you make a mistake, you're man enough or woman enough to actually say, do you know what, I got it wrong. You're right in this situation. And if it requires an apology, we need to know that actually this person is willing to apologize and make things work, to reconcile the situation. Don't always rely on me to do that. It's so important that a person is able to recognize and admit they're wrong and to apologize when necessary. A person that doesn't like to do that, you need to ask yourself, what is the reason why? Because in marriage, it will become extremely problematic. And again, that's a conversation to have. And accountability is very key in fixing that one or working with that one. And it doesn't mean that the person's a bad person. Maybe they just don't recognize it for whatever reason, but it's a conversation to have. We need to be people that can apologize, that can admit when we're wrong and recognize when we're wrong. And if we can't, amber flag, something to be very mindful of and careful with as well. If the person is pursuing you more than they're pursuing God, now it sounds all sweet, like, yeah, he's overly pursuing me, he's looking after me, he's chasing me, this and that, like I feel so blessed, and vice versa. But if the person starts to make you an idol and, they're spending less and less time with God and, God is not the focus, that's an amber flag. Like, I want my husband to pursue God more than me, because in the day that I mess up, I know that he's still in relationship with God. I don't want to get in the way, and I don't want him to get in the way of my walk with God. They must love God more than they love you, because when they love God more than they love you, they will love you with everything. They will love you so well. Do not allow yourself to become an idol, and ask the person to check themselves. Like, am I getting in the way of your relationship with God? Am I becoming a hindrance? And then revisit how you can prioritize God above each other. Again, it's an amber flag. It's not a red flag. It's not something to completely, run away from, but it's something to sit down, discuss and address. And if in your discussion it can be addressed, fantastic. But if it can't be addressed, then it becomes a red flag. And then for me, that's something that I would run away from. But ensure that you're both pursuing God more than you're pursuing each other, because otherwise you've turned each other into idols, and that's not cool. Amber flag number 4, if they don't have a circle of like-minded people. See, for me, the reason why that's worrying is because if they don't have people upholding the standard of God around them, chances are they will stumble and fall. And in that time, who is going to pick them up? Because it can't just be you by yourself. It's so important to have like-minded friends, people that are on the same wave as you, people that, share the same views as you in the word, people that can encourage you and, check you again when you're wrong. Come back down to accountability again. We need to have people that, like-minded people around us. And our future spouses need to have like-minded people around them, so that we know we're all on the same page. If there are no like-minded people around them, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It just means that they need to be open to, getting to know people that share kingdom values. If that means them coming into your circle, into your fellowship, then so be it. But they should be open to, having godly friends, having people that will encourage them to be better. And if that means letting go of bad friends, or, people that are not exactly a good example, then so be it. The Bible says that bad company corrupts good character. It's not just a cliche, it's very true. If you surround yourself with people long enough, you will pick up their habits and their characters, whether it's good or bad. So let's encourage our future spouses to be surrounded with the right people, and you too be surrounded with the right people. It's so key, very necessary, and it will be a blessing to your relationship in the future if you find the right people. And amber flag number 5. When a person doesn't have a clear sense of purpose. Now, again, it's not the end of the world, but it's something that does need to be addressed and worked out with God. If a person, especially a man, if he doesn't have a clear sense of purpose, how do you know where you're both going in life? How do you know if this is someone that you want to tie your destiny to, because you don't know where they're going, or because they don't know where they're going? It's so important to have a sense of what you have been called to do, of the direction that you're going in, because for a man, he's the one that will be leading the home. And if he doesn't have a destination or any direction, what are you doing? Where are you going with him? How are you going to fulfill your vision with someone that doesn't know what theirs is? It doesn't work. And we've been created for a purpose, and our mandate is to fulfill that purpose. In marriage, we're to fulfill that purpose together. So it's so important to encourage each other to sit down, spend time with God. Lord, what have I been created to do? But generally speaking, your sense of purpose will come from your relationship and your intimacy with the Father, and by serving in the environment that you're in. And then, you'll see the fruit of, you'll begin to see things that you lean more towards, and you'll recognize, actually, this is what I'm called to do. This is what I'm made to do. And again, it's a conversation to sit down and have with each other, and then to sit down with those that are more mature in the faith than you, and actually, sit down and find out, like, how do I find my purpose? What can I do? What do you see me doing in the kingdom? These are all areas to have discussions about. They're not things to panic about, but they are areas that need to be addressed, because if they're not dealt with in the days of your singleness, they'll become major issues in marriage, which is not worth it. So deal with it now. Your courtship should be a time of growing and improving together, not just, you know, being all loved up, but it is a time of work. My own courtship, God highlighted so many issues in me, and it's just like, oh my God, I didn't know I had this much mess to deal with. But courtship was a time when we were able to highlight that and lift those things up to God and practically start putting things into place. I've mentioned before, and the whole idea of a man, you know, telling me what to do or being vulnerable with someone was very uncomfortable for me. But God showed me in the time of our courtship that actually you need to deal with this. I had many barriers up, and again, God's like, this cannot stand in your marriage. We need to deal with it. So for me, courtship was a time of growing and, you know, becoming whole in God. Like, the process is still going on, but if it hadn't started in courtship, first year of marriage would have been bumpy. And I just want to encourage you guys to recognize these things that need to be worked on. Don't ignore them. Don't brush them under the carpet. They will become big issues. So submit them to the Father now. Actively put plans in place to deal with them now, and you will see the beautiful fruit of it by the grace of God. I really pray that encourages someone. I pray that, you know, you are strengthened to have those conversations. And as I said at the beginning, check yourself as well. If this is you, put things in place to deal with it. Don't accept it as normal. Don't use your experiences or your past to justify those kind of character traits, because it's just not worth it. Don't do that. And God is amazing. He's able to do a work in us. Like, I always quote this scripture, but he that is in Christ is a new creation. Old things have passed away and all things become new. Therefore, we have to go through a process of mind renewal, and God is able to do that if we're willing. So guys, get willing, you know, allow God to change you and mold you. Have a good day. Take care. Bye.